welcome back to the ranch. Dr. Uptown here, bringing you a Mossberg 590. Nothing particularly special, just a standard 590 shotgun, 18-inch barrel with the extended magazine tube. However, what we are going to do is take this completely apart and clean it up for you. So we'll bring it back down to less than bird's eye level so that you can get a little more detail about how we're going to strip this out. Alright, so first thing we're going to do to start the field strip on this is go ahead and remove the end plug off of the magazine tube. We've got that, remove the spring out. And what that will do, if you're familiar with 870s, is the same thing. This will release the barrel and allow it to pull it off the front end. And we'll set that aside. Next is going to be the magazine tube, which is fairly tight on there, however it will unscrew off. Basically, to prevent any marring on that, we're just going to use our rubber loop wrench. Go ahead and install that onto the barrel, or on the magazine tube. And once we've got that in place, then we'll go ahead and work that off. Maybe. Okay, we did finally get that broken loose, but we had to do it while we were off camera. So we'll go ahead and unscrew that magazine tube out and remove it. Once it's out of there, one of the things we will go ahead and do also is take this castle nut off of the end of the forestock. And once we've got that castle nut removed, we can take that forestock off. By simply pushing forward on the plastic portion, that will remove the forestock. Set that up and out of the way. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and remove our trigger group out. Simply take this single pin out, set it aside, and then from the back lift up on the trigger group and it will rock out of the way. Next thing you're going to do, and you're going to notice as we push this back, that the shell retainer will come out on one side. The other side, there is a pin, what looks like a pin location on the side of the frame, and that pin index is into it. The one on this side is just simply held in by the transfer bars on the slide. So once we get that moved back to about the midpoint, I'm going to take this bolt plate out, then slide our magazine or our pump slider out, push the bolt out the front. There are a few parts still left inside. We're not going to go ahead and remove those just simply because of the cleaning we're doing. We don't have to get in there in depth and do this, but one will be this shell carrier. And the ejector sits down in the very top of the barrel. It's held in place by this screw, and you can see where the screw comes out of the side of the frame there. The shell carrier just comes out by squeezing it. Like I say, we don't necessarily need to take it out. Since it's out, we'll leave it out. But that leaves us just our basic body and the buttstock attached. The thumb safety is in here, and you can see it move back and forth It's just basically a simple switch that locks forward, locks back. So we're going to go ahead and finish cleaning this up and lube it up, and we'll once we've got that done, then we'll go ahead and show you the reassembly. Okay guys, back for our reassembly here. First thing we're going to go ahead and do is put the shell carrier back in place. And once the holes are lined up, it'll just pop into location. Next, we'll go ahead and put the bolt into place. It slides into position. And then after that, we'll go ahead and install the carrier. Into place. Next thing we'll go ahead and do is reinstall our slide and slide arms back into the frame. So we'll go ahead and slide our tubes back into place. Now, one thing that has to happen, I didn't really specify, is the slide arms have to index on these two little wings of the carrier. So what we'll do is kind of set that into place. Bring the bolt forward until it snaps into location here. And see if I can pull this in so that you can get a closer look at it. This is the carrier. This is the little tooth on the slide mechanism that moves the bolt back and forth. There's one on each side, and then the bolt carrier sits down into the top of the bolt. Okay, once we've got those into location, you saw these slide retainers earlier. This one just pops into place. The other one actually pops into place, but it is actually retained in by the arms of the slide. The slide is moved back, the shell carrier comes up, and that's what retains that into location. The other portion of this that holds these into place is the trigger group itself. Now, since the trigger group's pretty well cleaned up, we're just going to go ahead and lightly oil a couple of spots on it. Make sure all the moving parts on the trigger group are well lubricated. And then we'll just simply drop the trigger group back into place. Pops back into place, then we pop our pin back in. You'll hear it click twice as it indexes. And that's the reassembly of the main frame. Now, one of the things we're going to do is reinstall the tube. It is threaded into the frame. Until it's in place good and tight. After that assembly is made, then we will go ahead and continue on with the rest of the parts. Okay, one of the things we've done before we went ahead and reinstalled the barrel was we went ahead and removed this heat shield, cleaned the barrel up underneath it and everything, and now we're ready to reassemble it. One of the things we did want to do though beforehand was we wanted to make sure that that heat shield was not necessarily set back too far. So to do that, we want to go ahead and at least tentatively install this barrel all the way into the receiver so that it was set all the way back in there before we adjusted this heat shield. Okay, so once we've got our heat shield placed to where fairly certain it's not going to cause us any interference, we're going to go ahead and lock this thing back down in place. It has 2 set screws in the front, and those are just tightened down, and that's basically all that holds the heat shield in place. So once we've got those tightened down, we know our barrel is all the way back in the action that it will go. Then we're ready to go ahead and reassemble our magazine. The magazine plug goes in, spring goes down into the magazine, and then last but not least our end cap, which if you're familiar with these, you know that once they get down close to the end there, they ratchet into place, and that's what locks them into the locks the magazine and the barrel together. So after tightening those up, we've got our gun back together, and it's fairly solid. But that's disassembly and reassembly of the Mossberg 590 in 12 gauge. Hope you guys find this interesting. We'll talk to you later. You have a nice day.